President.
Senator from Iowa.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that Evan Carroll, a military fellow from my office, be granted floor privileges for the remainder of the Congress.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I want to thank my friend and my colleague from Florida for joining me today on the floor to talk about a very important subject which Americans are watching unfold every single day on their television. The Biden White House claims we've been doing the work to secure the border. In fact, some in the administration have said the border is secure. With thousands of migrants illegally crossing our southern border every single day and drug cartels funneling fentanyl into our communities, the Biden administration's talking points are actually a bunch of malarkey. With the Biden administration attempting to do away with Title 42, a policy put in place under the Trump administration to turn away illegal immigrants, the U.S.-Mexico border is going from crisis to catastrophe. Our hardworking Border Patrol agents are overwhelmed. They are exhausted, and they are hurting. They, too, want a break for the holidays. But sadly, their Christmas will be spent dealing with the drug cartels and processing migrants. Without Title 42 in place, Biden administration officials have estimated that nearly 500,000 illegal immigrants, which is almost 100 times the size of my hometown of Red Oak, Iowa, could cross our southern border each month. That's on top of the over 2.2 million Border Patrol encounters this year, which is 500,000 more than the previous year. Even more concerning, 98 of those apprehended were on the terrorist watch list. On top of this being a humanitarian and national security disaster, Biden's open border policies are intensifying our nation's drug epidemic. Illicit fentanyl overdoses are now the #1 cause of death among adults ages 18 to 45. This administration has truly turned every state into a border state. And to make matters worse, the Biden administration is telling states they don't have a right to secure their own borders. Just last week, the Biden Justice Department sued Arizona Governor Doug Ducey in an effort to stop the state from constructing its own border barrier. Arizona was simply trying to protect Americans from drug smuggling and human trafficking. Well, Arizona, since President Biden won't help you, I do have a solution. Instead of blocking states from installing much-needed safety precautions, we need to make use of the border wall materials that are already bought and paid for by American taxpayers. $350 million worth of concrete, steel, and fencing to build the barrier are just sitting idle, collecting dust and rust, and taxpayers are covering the costs to babysit these unused materials. This is government waste at its finest. So, Mr. President, I have a question. Why not let states who want to build a wall access these already paid-for materials? Not only would it save money, it would deter the unprecedented number of border crossings we've seen as a result of Biden's border policies. America is, and always has been, a welcoming nation. But those seeking a better life here have an obligation to respect our laws, including our immigration laws. And the President has a sworn duty to enforce them and to protect the American people. That's why I'm asking the Senate today to pass my Borders Unused, Idle, and Lying Dormant Inventory Transfer, or the Build It Act, which would turn over the unused materials already purchased by taxpayers to construct the southern border barrier to any state wishing to finish the job. This bill won't cost a single cent. In fact, it will prevent government waste, which Washington has in excess. It will help end the catastrophe occurring along our border and help make communities across the nation safer from the threat of violent criminals and lethal drugs. Folks, there's no way around it. President Biden's policies are fostering illegal immigration, creating a national security nightmare, and impacting the lives of far too many Americans, both in Iowa and across the country, all while costing taxpayers billions of dollars. Here's a simple solution. Pass the Build It Act and allow states to put these materials to use. Madam President, I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs be discharged from further consideration of S-4294 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. I further ask that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered, made, and laid upon the table.